guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am on making a card and I thought, well, I might as well share it with you. So it is a printable one again from Craft Print. I have printed the topper piece twice because I want to raise the frame above the image of the little doggy slightly. So I've actually printed it twice and I've separated the frame from the image on the second one. I've printed out the backing piece and I've stamped and heat embossed Happy Birthday in the centre there, and then I've cut the little pieces out, and I've just inked around the edge of these with pumice stone because that just seemed like the right sort of colour to go with the colouring that's in the dog. On the bigger pieces, I've gone around the blue with chipped sapphire and around the inside of that frame with a bit of brushed corduroy. On the topper part for the dog, on his nose, I've just coloured in with a Versamark pen and then put a little bit of ultrafine clear embossing so that it's got that little sort of wet dog nose look. And then on the eyes, I've domed some glossy accents. So when this dries, obviously it's a bit cloudy still at the moment because it's not dry, but when this dries, it will have a little domed glassy effect to the eyes. Now, because I've printed this on an inkjet printer, I find that if I put glossy accents directly onto the cardstock, it bleeds the colour out from underneath it because it stays wet for too long, and then you lose all the colour. So one of the ways that I've found to get around that is to, again, put a coat of your Versamark ink wherever you want to put your glossy accents. Do a thin layer of the ultrafine embossing powder, and then put your glossy accents over the top of that. The embossing powder just creates a resist and stops the wetness going down through and onto the cardstock and blowing the ink out from underneath that cardstock. So I've done those bits. I'm going to do the card as an easel card. So because obviously I haven't got a piece long enough, because these Craft Print kits are, she says, not actually knowing. Where if I put a ruler? There's one. Oh. So the image, once I've printed it and cut it out, and I have taken just a very small edge off so that I do get a nice coloured finish. So they're probably about 7 1/4. Mine's just under that because, like I say, where I've cut it, it's just slightly under 7 1/4. And I've not resized them. I've just printed them as they sort of print out. So what I've done is I have cut A4 cardstock at, I'm rubbish at inches, I don't know why I do it in inches, 7 1 2 3/8, I think that is, width. I've cut 2 pieces, and then I've scored it at 7 3/8 on the long side, so that I've got 2 folds like so, and both pieces are the same. And then I've inked all around the edge with the chipped sapphire. Now, one is going to be the bit that the image is going to go on, and the other is going to be the bit that is going to be the bottom part of it. So one piece I'm going to fold blue side up, and one fold I'm going to fold with the blue side down, and then I'm going to flip that one over and put it like so. So when it stands up, all you can see is the blue. So in order to get it all lined up properly, the way I tend to do it is to line up the front face that the image is going to go on and the bottom face, which is going to be the easel part, where it's going to prop up to. Line them up together, making sure that your face side, that the side that's going to be your where your image is going to be, is just this side of the embossed line from where you've scored it, just this side of the scored line, so that it'll all fold nicely when you come to put it in an envelope. Okay, so when I lift it up, it will look like So, it doesn't really matter which way on the inside, which way you do it. On the back side there, because you don't really see that bit anyway. You can always put a piece of pattern paper over it if it bothers you. I don't know if I will or not. I'll see what it looks like when I'm done. So all I'm going to do is line that up. I'm now going to get a piece of tape, and I'm going to put a piece of tape across like so. Just move that up so you can see. So I've put a piece across on the bottom there, and then I'm going to put a piece on the top of this piece, because that's going to fold over and join like so. So when these two bits of tape are taken off, that's obviously going to secure them nicely exactly where you want it to be, and you're not going to have any bits of tape sticking out over the top. So just find my poke tool, and I'm just going to remove that piece of tape, and I'm going to remove that piece of tape. And anybody that knows me knows I don't entirely trust the tape, so I am also going to just put a little bit of wet glue like so, and then I'm going to fold that over, making sure that everything lines up as it should. Make sure it's going to stand up as it should, which it is. It's standing up beautifully. And now I'm going to just push that down and just give it a quick rub over with the bone folding tool, and that will secure everything. So if you don't like this back panel here, which actually you won't see when it's stood particularly, other than if you're looking at it from the side, you could always layer a piece of patterned paper, or you could put a border strip across there so that it looks like it's a deliberate separation. Obviously, if you're using colour core cardstock that's the same colour on both front and back, I'm using Centura Pearl because it's nice and thick. It makes really nice card bases, particularly for these easel cards. But I may, like I say, I might have a look in my stash and I might find something to back that with, but it doesn't overly bother me anyway. And then on the back, you've got the same thing. You've got the two different pieces, but I've printed off the backer piece for this, so it doesn't bother me so much. You can see obviously a little bit of the white and the blue, but I don't think it matters too much. So I'm just going to attach this, so I'll do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have popped the back on to the card there, and I think it actually looks quite cute with the little break in the blue and the white. I think that actually looks quite nice. And then I have popped the base layer of the front of the card down as well. So that's the bit that I'm going to work on. So like I say, I've cut out a second piece of this to make the frame, because I just wanted to actually frame the little dog image. I thought it would look really cute like that. So I've cut that out and I've put on 2 layers of cardboard, just packaging on the back there, so that it'll stay nice and proud. Just realised I couldn't find the last piece of my frame in there. So I've done, like I say, 2 layers. The way that I get this to stick and hope that it'll have a bit of longevity is to put some white glue, and always do your white glue first because obviously that takes longer to set off than your hot glue does. And obviously you could just do it all with white glue, but I'm impatient and I'm trying to get this done quite quickly. So I've just popped on some white glue, and then down the middle of that I just run a bead of the hot glue, and then I can pop my cardboard strip in on top of that, and the hot glue will hold it in place, and hopefully the white glue will hold it in place long term. Then I'm just going to line that up over the top, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to take my frame and I'm going to put some white glue all the way around like so. So I would particularly do this if you're making like a little picture or something to go up in perhaps in a kid's room or something, or if you're doing a different image, a picture to go up in your own room, where you want it to sort of last. Obviously with a card it's not quite as important, but then even with cards, I think you never know, if the child takes a particular liking to it, they may decide that they want to have that on display in their room. They may wish to keep it, so I think it's always worth making it built to last. So then I'm just going to line this up over the top. Now obviously I've not got as much working time with the hot glue, so if you're not confident of getting it on reasonably quickly, then I probably wouldn't do it with the hot glue. I'd just do it with the white glue, because you've got a little bit longer. Or you could do it with tape and white glue, and that would give you just that little bit longer than the hot glue to work with it, but you'd still get that instant grab power. So you can see how already we've got quite a lot of dimension starting to build up on this card. This is definitely not one to be sent through the post unless you're happy with spending that bit more on the postage, because it is going to be quite dimensional by the time it's finished. I have also gone through and layered up my little doggy images with all of their bits of cardboard on the back. So let's do this last piece. So I sometimes will punch out circles and just use them like they are sticky dots. If I'm not doing that and I've got a large space, I'll just roughly draw round the outside onto a piece of cardboard. So this is my cat food packaging. I just bung it through the Big Shot to squish it a little bit so it's not too two-dimensional. And then all I'm going to do is, I don't know if you'll be able to see the lines on the camera, but I can just about see them. So all I'm going to do is cut 1 centimetre or so to the inside of that line that I've just drawn. Like so. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're not going to see this, obviously. It's just to hold up the pieces of the image. Look for the one that I'm actually drawing around. Just put it down somewhere. And there it is. And then before you go to glue it, just try it up against, because every now and again there might be just a little bit that you need to trim out, and I'm going to just stick that down. I've done it the wrong way round. Never mind. It's card, it doesn't matter. There we go. And just stick that on. That's gone on just a little bit squiffy, and that's the problem with using the hot glue, because it goes off dead quick. But all I'm going to do is just get my scissors in behind it and just snip out the bit that you can see. Obviously being very careful not to snip into the image that you've just spent time fussy cutting and inking. That's why it sometimes is better to just use the white glue, because obviously you've just got that little bit more time with the white glue that you just don't get with the hot glue. But for videos it is much easier to use the hot glue. If I've got any big bits where I think there's too much of a gap and the image is going to sink, I'll just patch it in with another little piece of cardboard. Okay, so now I've got to work out what pattern these go in. So I'm wanting to start with the piece that's got the most of the dog, working my way up through the bits up to the least amount of the dog showing. Now I am going to stick this down with white glue, just because you want to get this lined up quite nicely, otherwise you don't get that same effect. And particularly given that I'm on the camera and everything always goes wrong when I'm on the camera, I'm going to do it with white glue. There we go. The only thing with the white glue is it will make your ink bleed, so you've got to sort of try not to get it anywhere where it's not going to end up sort of staying, because otherwise you get a bit of the colours changing. Okay, so and again, you've got to be careful making sure this one, because there's quite a lot of different pieces to this one, it would be quite easy to put the wrong piece on, and then you've not got your sequencing right. So what it does in layering all of this up is it gives you things looking like they're in shadow. It gives you that 3D look. So we will go for, I think it's that one and then that one. Okay. There we are. And this one is going to go on like so. As you can see, it's becoming really quite dimensional because I've used the card. Although this is squash card, so it's not particularly thick, but it will soon build up the dimension. And this one's got lots of layers. A lot of the ones I use, I don't go for the ones that have got loads of layers, but this is being hand delivered, so I can get away with it. And then the final one for this is, well, we've got two final little layers. We've got the little face like that and the little nose. Now, the glossy accents is not quite set on the eyes, so I'm going to put that on last of all. So I'm just going to put the nose on for now and get that so that that's setting up. Obviously that will go on like that, and it'll look like that, super cute. But I am going to leave that off to one side just whilst it dries, and I'm going to work on the bottom bit, which is why I don't want to put the top bit on just yet. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to put my little sticker on. So, well, not sticker. I've got one of these little Happy Birthday die cuts. These come from the range. I think they're £1 or so for a bag of. You get some I want to say 6 silver and 6 gold, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, I have actually got a foiling machine and dies. I'm just never seem to have the time. I don't like it when they just put one dot of what's it called, foam tape in the centre, because I just think it's a disaster waiting to happen, really, isn't it? It is for me. So I'm just going to put a bigger piece of cardboard behind it in the hope that it will just hold it up a little bit better. So let's move this up so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I've just again snipped a piece of my packaging. And this is already slightly different to the design style, obviously, because I've done the additional frame. I'm doing it as an easel card. I'm adding this in. So you can sort of make them quite individual, even though they are, you know, it's a build kit basically. But I don't mind that. I think I enjoy making them. They're fun to make. They don't take too much sort of cutting and stuff like that. You know, a bit of fussy cutting and whatnot, but I quite like fussy cutting, so that's okay for me. So I'm just going to stick that right in the centre there, like so. So we've got the lovely happy birthday. Just make sure that still stands okay. Got a glue string there that's annoying me. Take that off. Okay. I've also got these little, they're actually nail gems, but I like them for cards and things. So, right, I've got to try and find some that are all the same size. That's the only thing, because I'm going to need a lot of them. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Just make sure they're the right size actually before yeah, perfect. Perfection. So I'm just going to add where the actual image has got the little drawn on embellishment gem pieces, I'm actually going to put some real ones. Like so. Just put my arms in them. Found out all the ones I actually want, and then you can see where, I'm making a mess, where that glue is just seeping out a little bit. If you don't pick that up and you've used an inkjet, there's a good chance that it's going to start smearing your image. So I just use a pokey tool just to pick that up. And I'm going to spin that around so I can get to the other ones that I want to pop on. And again, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. And that really is the key, is trying not to put too much glue on. I do have a tendency to overdo the glue because I'm always scared that things are going to fall apart. But that's not always a bonus when you're working with inkjet. I do keep thinking about buying a laser jet. I've got a black laser printer, but it's really old and a bit rubbish, and obviously it's no good for cards and things. Although because it's toner, I can foil with that actually as well, but I never find that I get a very good finish with the toner foil, so I don't do it very often. But I've thought about getting a colour one because they are waterproof. The ink's waterproof because it's actually like a melted plastic, I believe, the toner. So there we go. So it's quite sort of simple in that, you know, I've not added too much other than the frame and the gems and the happy birthday. I've not added too much to it, but I think there's quite a lot going on in this card anyway, because you've got quite a lot of dimension built into this card with the little puppy dog. There's so many layers of the puppy dog. I think you could easily overdo it with this one. So then the other thing that I need to do, because it's an easel card, obviously I need to have a stop point on the bottom panel here to make sure that the card stays stood up and doesn't just sort of collapse flat. So I found in my stash this really lovely, it's like padded star trim, and I'm going to pop that across the card like so, like that. And then I've also cut out my niece's name, and I'm going to put that on a little flagged banner. So first things first, I'm just going to do the banner. So I've cut it out of the same Centura Pearl cardstock that I've done the base out of, but I'm going to make sure that I give it a really good coating around the edge with the chipped sapphire, just so that it breaks and defines this piece from the base card, like so. And then it's got two little flagged tails as well. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Just make sure I give them a really good going over with the Centura Pearl. It gives that a little bit of dimension, but it also will just give you that definition, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to put it together by, I'm going to stick the little letters on first. So I always find it's better to lay your letters out first and then glue them down, because if you don't like the position, you can change it, whereas once you've glued it and that's that. Prefer that one up the other way. I never know with these things which way you're supposed to. I'm assuming that goes up that way because of the twirly bits being on the bottom on the other ones. So it's going to go like that. So I'll just pause and I'll pop all of those pieces onto the nameplate. Okay, so I have made the banner but it does disappear too much for my liking into the background. So I have also cut a panel of a sort of creamy coloured, that goes with the creamy sort of colour in here, of like a linen effect. I'm actually looking at it thinking, should I go white? But I'm going to stick with it. It looks cute. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm just going to go around the edge with the chipped sapphire, and that'll help to sort of bring everything together, because I've used chipped sapphire on a lot of the elements throughout this card. So, and then I'm going to stick that piece just down to the bottom of the card there, like so. Like that. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've stuck that piece down. I've then cut a couple of pieces of this puffy star trim out. Just trimming the bits off of them there. And that's going to stick on like that. Just trim that out a bit. That's it. So I think I'm going to stick those like that, and then I'm going to pop her name in the centre there. So I'm going to start off by popping the bottom ones on. Because that will help me determine where I'm going to put the upper layer. This is why hot glue is hard to work with when you're klutzy, and I'm having a really klutzy day today. I dropped half a tub of double cream out the fridge this morning, and it all collected and welled in the blinking handle of the freezer below, and then was just draining down the front of the fridge to the floor below. My cat was having a whale of a time. She must have heard it drop from 1,000 paces and came flying into the kitchen and was lapping it up before I could stop her. Okay, and I was trying to make sandwiches and make my daughter some breakfast before she went to school, and I'm thinking, it's not a great start to the day. I really like that. And then I'm going to pop her name plate just in the centre of that bit there. I've also found in my stash, I've got these little paw print stamps, which I thought were super cute. And then I've got just the nautical blue. This is Memento, one of the little teardrop ones. I don't know how well this is going to stamp on here, so this could be an unmitigated disaster, but here we go. Going to do it anyway. Oh wow, I love it. Ah, yay! Oh, it went well. That's the first time for everything today. Oh, they're so cute. I might have to put some down the side of the thing as well. Right, let me put the nameplate on before I go any further. So I've just put a little bit of card to pop the top layer above the tails, just to give that a little bit of height, because I'm all about the height and the dimension. So I'm going to bring this one back in, and I'm just going to add a few of these paw prints because they are so cute. Down. Now it's going to go over my frame, and I don't know if I want it to. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I'm just going to do it. Just do it. Oh, they're so cute. And I quite like that they're sort of tone on tone. And I'm moving the stamp block round so that it doesn't look the same each way. And then I've got a slightly smaller stamp as well. So I'm going to pop some of those in as well. Like that. And then we'll put some down the bottom here as well. That was nearly a disaster. Nearly put ink all over the stars. That'll never do. Oh, so cute. I really like all the little paw prints. They just add a finishing touch to it. Ah, super cute. Okay, so it's going to be hard to show it you on the camera because of the angle. Let me see if I can reposition the camera. I'll be back in a sec. There you go. So that's the finished card. I really like it. I'm not going to put anything more on it than that because I think it's super cute just as it is. I'm holding the camera funny, so